Hello out there, Foxes fans, and welcome back to another edition of the U.S. Foxes podcast, coming to you live, as always, from various time zones around the United States of America. I, as always, am your host, Matt Folks, live in San Diego, joined this evening by two of my wonderful co-hosts. First of all, on the East Coast, representing the New York Foxes, as always, and his beloved Yankees in his Yankees hat, even though he's got the Rangers going on tonight. Mr. Jason Becker of the New York Foxes. What's up, my man?
Hey, yeah, I'm going to make a late gym run today. So my Yankees cap has kind of been relegated to my gym cap after that sorry season. So I've got the Rangers on in the background. They're the last hope, I think, for New York sports this year.
So no chance for the Knicks?
When of the Knicks? I mean, Chris.
Sorry.
Oh, and just right on cue, Rangers score 3-0.
Yes. Excellent. Right on cue. As you've heard him join us live in Del Mar, Mr. Chris Warner. What's up, my guy?
How you doing, buddy? How you doing? Yeah, I can't really say that I have an NHL or a team like that. So I'll just bask in the fact we're top of the league. 10 points. What is it? 10 points from third now. And Enzo and everybody is on a roll.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or Cobb, maybe, as you know.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I'm glad you got your Rangers. I fortunately or unfortunately cheer for the Columbus Blue Jackets, who continually find ways to just disappoint me in my NHL fandom. So hopefully they get a good win tonight against Philadelphia, get the season started off right. But not expecting much after the off-season shenanigans that they've gone through. But this isn't a hockey pod, guys, and we've got way better things to talk about, like our wonderful Foxes, who just continue to make a mockery of the championship, playing just incredible fluid football that I think continues to just shock us every week with just how amazing it has gone, given the fact that every question was in the air at the beginning of the season, with being in a new league, with a lot of new faces and a new coach. And man, we've just hit the ground running. So we are loving life. Coming to you guys after we're in the international break now, but two huge wins, Preston and Stoke, two big check marks off the list for the Foxes. Preston especially, I know it feels like it was 4 weeks ago at this point, guys, but Preston match coming in, they were in third place. Everything was on the line there as far as there could have been a slip up easily. Honestly, probably our biggest match of the year heading into it. And we just put the hammer to the floor and smoked those boys by 3 goals. Chris, we'll start with you on the Preston match, man. What do you have to say about that one?
Well, I think it was just a continuation, wasn't it, of the season, and the idea, the patience, as you've talked about, Matt. And I think one of the things that I think I was a little bit kind of dismissive of at the beginning of the year, and you've absolutely kind of hit us over the head with, is this idea that we're wearing them down, and at some point we're going to break him down. And that, again, I think came through in the Preston game. I mean, for being second in the league, I know their style is a little bit a deep block, a mid block, but it was kind of crazy that you're playing second in the league and you're lining up that way. And I thought that we did it. I think as soon as we'd scored the first, then the quality of the second and I know people say the second's good, but that third goal and what Iheanacho does on the halfway line, not only the way he moves his feet and then plays it out wide, that was just football to die for. So amazing performance, well-deserved result in the end. But again, it was just like you said, Matt, it's like we've got to be patient in those situations. And when one comes, 3 will come.
We'll talk about those goals. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, first of all, Iheanacho, there's so many things to talk about on this goal, but first of all, I will just start with Nacho and the move, the little back fourth move that he put on the guy, and then he hits that outside of the foot curver to the postman, Mark Albrighton, who then does Mark Albrighton fucking things. I haven't played in a while. I'm still number 11. I'm still Mark Albrighton. Here's one on a postage stamp directly into the box, which, yeah, I'm with you. That would have been goal of the season. But Nacho unfortunately doesn't get it stuck home. But then, we've got the follow up with KDH, and I just think, what do you say at that point, guys? When you're scoring goals like this, Jason, they're changing the way we watch football.
Yeah, we've scored some incredible team goals this year, and it's so satisfying to watch. There is something about that, and how much different it is to watch a good team goal where we've been used to quite a while now under the prior regime of seeing goals really scored by individual skill and using individual skill to kind of bail us out of those situations. And now we are scoring very nice looking team goals, which are clearly part of the way that we want to play football. And it's satisfying to watch because you see a great individual goal that can kind of come out of nothing, but that's no way to kind of run a game plan. And when we score goals like we did against Preston, you can see it's that's what they were planning to do, and they executed on it and scored those types of goals. So I love seeing it. I love the build up. We've had some really quick counters when we've needed and gotten the puck. The puck. I put the hockey on in the background. Gotten the ball up the pitch pretty quickly. So this is a team that can kind of move the ball around, change speed of play, change different angles of attack, and exploit space. And it's good. It's satisfying to watch.
Yeah.
I also have to eat a little bit of humble pie. I think anyone who listened to the last episode would remember, Matt saying that this is going to be a very comfortable win. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm not too sure about that. And I wasn't, but I thought about what Matt had said on the pod. And I did redeem myself a bit privately when I texted you guys and said, you know what? I was thinking about what Matt said. I looked at the stats. I've been looking at a bit more about Preston, and I think Matt's right. I think we are going to handle this one pretty easily. And you were.
Yeah, and I think you placed a little bet too. It won you some money as well. So I'm excited about that, my guy.
I wouldn't have reconsidered it without your confidence, and it paid off literally.
Well, I mean, guys, I said it like Enzo's changing the way we watch football now. Before it was, I mean, I just feel like a lot of people watch the game for the goals. You watch the game for the, offense. And really now he's changing the way we watch football. And I'm getting more out of watching us play and making these guys run all over the pitch and wearing them down. And it's just so fun to watch. And I mean, you see it on the score sheet, right? When you were talking about last year and how we relied on individual greatness for our goals. And you're exactly right. If it wasn't James Madison with some ridiculous ball hogging for 30 seconds to a left foot curler that went in, or it wasn't Yuri taking a shot, from 35 yards and praying that it hit the bar and bounce down and in instead of hitting the bar and bouncing out. That's what we look forward to last year. And I mean, when you look at the stats this year, I think, what do we have? 7 different players have scored. It just shows you that the type of football that has been played, the mentality that now exists with this team, it's been changed from the ground up, Chris. And you just got to give it to Enzo for the work that he's done with these guys.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, who would have thought that if you have a philosophy where you try to pat the box with players, we might actually get more players that are scoring goals? I mean, that it sounds simple on paper, but to your point, Matt, it requires a philosophical shift in the way we approach the game in order to do that. And players like we talked about on this podcast all season long, players like Ndidi are coming out of their skin now and being just these kind of diamonds that we'd never ever thought we'd see. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. We just keep praising and praising and praising Enzo, and it's every week we have to find new words to try and describe what we're doing. But it does feel different. I mean, the more I think about it now, the more that last season is starting to feel just almost just miles and miles away now, and that's great. And I'm starting to even put away that pain and anger I had for the side at the end of last season. And like you said, focus now on the future. Look forward to what this team might be doing. Look forward to, touch wood, when we get promoted, what this team can do and who can we bring in with this philosophy. And I mean, that's great. And that's exactly what we needed as a club. We needed a reset. Kudos. I mean, he doesn't get much praise on this podcast, but I mean, Rudkin and Whelan and the board took a gamble with Enzo and it's paid off. And so kudos to the club as well for making a decision that's been the right one.
Yeah, I think when we look back at Susan and John's tenure here, this is definitely helping things to say the least. But I don't know, Jason. Are we giving them enough credit? Are we not giving them enough credit?
Yeah, I mean, this full rebuild's going to take some time. We still have 5 keepers on the squad, as we saw in the team photo that was released. Which, come on, that is pretty ridiculous. It's something I've been just probably talked about way too much on this pod. But I think just as I don't know, we have a bit of a chicken or the egg thing in a way, but just as important as the tactics and how we're playing is the squad depth. And you need that in this league. And we've proven that how important that is already. Making 6 changes before the last game and being able to rotate players, being able to sub on guys, being able to score late goals because our opponents are just gassed and our guys are still fresh. It makes a big difference. When I say it's kind of chicken or the egg thing, it's is Enzo benefiting from that? Certainly he is. But do we have a bit more of that squad depth now because of Enzo? Because players are on board and wanting to stay, and some of them may have wanted to leave earlier in the year. And I think he does deserve a lot of credit for how he's managed such a big squad and figured out ways to get everyone playing time and to make every player on the side feel like they have a real contribution to make. And he seems to be on the same page and they understand what he's doing. And look what he's been able to do with Wilfred and Ndidi, but not just Wilfred and Ndidi in changing positions there, but we have other players that were kind of left out in the cold, and look how well they're performing. Yannick Vestergaard has been a revelation this year. He's really been playing so well. I love watching him each week. Harry Suter, we think he's going and he's kind of, frozen out, and then Enzo figures out a way to kind of integrate him back into the squad. And then other players like Hamza Chowdhury, didn't seem like he was really a Brendan Rodgers kind of guy. And here comes Enzo giving him a captain's armband, this season and telling him how important he is. And now Hamza goes and signs another contract. So really, I think and Patson Daka has even, gotten a little bit of playing time and probably will be worked into the squad a bit. So I think certainly Susan and John and Top deserve a ton of credit for taking a chance on a manager like Enzo Maresca. He's got a very clear idea of how he wants to play football. I think he's done an excellent job on the tactical side, on the man management side, and also developing a connection with the fans again. And he had to deal with, some boos and some people just not used to the style and the pace of the play and kind of what he was doing. And, he's not going to change. And he keeps explaining to the fans what he's trying to do and how important it is to get everyone on the same side. And we saw in the first game against Cub, he was out there celebrating and jumping around. And we've been missing that connection with a manager for a long time now. It kind of was just a little odd with Rodgers always, and then things got toxic. It was non-existent with Claude Puel. So this is a good chunk of time, and we tend to fall in love with managers that take that effort and want to develop that connection with fans. We did, big chunk of this, so there's a lot there. And I probably said a little too much, but the brass deserves a lot of credit for bringing in a manager like Maresca, and we see what it's done throughout the squad and throughout the club, really.
Yeah. I think too, you got to give, obviously we've done it a lot on this pod, and I feel like we repeat this a lot, but you've got to give Enzo so much credit for, being able to speak to the notorious six that wanted to leave the club and come back, because that is part of the reason that we have this absolutely insane squad depth now. And shout out Neil Warnick, who was one of the first people at the beginning of the season that said Leicester have two 11s that could get promoted. And damn, if he wasn't right. I feel like Enzo's almost like when you're playing FIFA manager mode, and it shows you like the players' happiness emblems by their like how much playing time they're getting. I feel like that's what Enzo's doing now. Is just literally who's got the disgruntled face next to their name.
Yeah, it's like when you go to the airport and you like when you go to the airport and you go through TSA and there's that little electronic panel that says how happy were you with the service. Like after training, it's out there when everyone comes through Seagrave, we're just like everyone's smacking the big green smiley face right now.
Oh, Suter's got the red. Suter's got the angry face. Get him in the side. It's just crazy.
And this season will prove it, but we've seen it before with other managers. You can freeze guys out, and you can, I don't know, for whatever reason, not like certain characters, but sooner or later someone's going to get hurt, something's going to happen, and you're going to have to rely on them. And for us, we'll have injuries. We've already had some. We have AFCON coming this year. We're going to have to rely on some of those players that have been frozen out. And Enzo gets it, man. He really does.
He really does. And not only does he have the depth, he knows how to fucking use it, guys. Let me throw a stat at you that is just proof positive. We were talking about running teams into the dirt. Between the 75th and the 90th minute, LCFC aggregate is 10-0 this season. So if you need to just get an idea of how Enzo ball works, that's all you need to hear right now, guys. In the most crucial time of any football matches this year, we are 10-0 on the aggregate.
That's a complete opposite of, I think, what we have seen the last few years.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Are we starting to realize that come end of the season, we're going to be eating crow in the sense that actually going to Thailand in the middle of the typhoon season when it was 105 degrees turns out to be the best thing we could have done for the players' fitness? Like, is that just going to come out as like Enzo just made them run while we're out there, and that's just been the catalyst for it? I don't know. It would be interesting to figure out how much ground we cover compared to the opposition, because I do wonder whether it's a case of us being super fit or whether it's just because we move it so much, it's a case they're running around. But it's an incredible stat. Those sorts of stats just remind me of the pain of last year and all those late goals that we conceded. I mean, it's a great point. Is that like we've got these players that have come in now, come out of the rough and just managed to slip in and do their job. And I mean that's kudos to the club as a whole as well for those sorts of things. And I think the players as well. People, the leadership, the senior players that are able to kind of can keep that relationship going with those players, even when the manager may not be in the manager's priorities. So I think it does show as well a bit of camaraderie in the dressing room, which is always good.
Yeah, and Chris, since we're on the topic of the leadership at the club, I mean, Chris, one of my favorite moments of the pod last season was, you kind of pleading with the club to get everyone on the same page and talking about the importance of an identity at the club and for everyone to kind of understand what's happening and for a youth team to play in a similar way as the first team, for everyone to be on the same page. We're seeing so much more of that this season. We're seeing changes in the way the youth team are playing. We're seeing youth players kind of integrated into the first team. We're seeing more collaboration, or at least more social media posts with the men's team and the women's team. So hopefully people over there, at Seagrave and on Filbert Way have really taken that to heart, and that becomes a continuing theme throughout the next few years.
Yeah, guys, on Preston there. So yeah, KDH gets 2, Nacho gets another one.
We were talking about the Preston game.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did an entire loop wrap.
I
was trying to.
I love it, man. I love it. That's what a good host does. Bring us back to the center. Keep us on track.
I do my best. Yeah, KDH 2 goals there is the important part. Nacho gets another goal. Continues to be the most prolific scorer in the league. Nacho is that. Then we moved on to Saturday. Stoke, which is. We've got a history with them. We've had some tough matches over the years. And again, guys, this would have been one at home. We did lose at home to Hull. So it does seem this year like when we're away, we are playing better football. But Stoke comes into town. And once again, we just absolutely dominate and get it done. Almost to an embarrassing point for that. I mean, it was embarrassing for Stoke fans. And we did see some of the repercussions of that in the video that went viral of their fans yelling at a 8-year-old boy who I believe will be the cover of the pod this week. So yeah, I guess Jason will go to you on the Stoke performance. That was just, I mean, I'll just lead you with this. 17 minutes passed before Stoke touched the ball in our half.
It was a very, very comfortable game, man. It really
17 minutes before they touched the ball in our half.
And this is, we made 6 changes, I think, going into that game, right?
Over half the team, yes.
Yeah, and so we had players that haven't played, much football together, and still just completely control that game. It was, it was so one-sided. I mean, just in terms of the control of the game. And that's what I felt like. That's the word I kept saying, I think, to everyone I was watching with, like, we do feel like we're in control. Even if we haven't scored, 10 goals yet, like, this game just feels like it's in control. And it's all just going to always be, it's a matter of time before we break through and then break through again.
One thing I loved, and this is just a small random note, but just more endearment to our wonderful Italian manager. The fact that he did have the peace of mind to play Harry Suter against Stoke. I fucking love that. That's so cool to me, Chris. When I saw that, I just got so stoked. That
do you want a fun Harry Suter slap? We're talking about facts of the game. Matt, facts of the game. Harry Suter spent more time in Stoke's half than he did Leicester's half in the entire game.
Wow.
That's what I mean, man. That's the kind of stats that we have from this match.
I did not realize that. I mean, that's, if you want to sum up the game in one sentence, I think that would do it, right?
Absolutely.
They had 2 shot attempts the whole game.
That's just crazy. It's just crazy, man. And I don't know. We're gonna have this a lot this season, where we're just looking for, I guess, more things to talk about, like, other than just we're fucking awesome. I think, I guess right now, one that we can point out to. How about our young goaltender? Let's give this boy some props coming in. He's got the highest save percentage in the league at 82%. Mads Hermansen playing an incredible game right now out of the back. Chris, I'll send it to you to give your thoughts on the young Dane, who I feel like has not got much shine put on him this year, just because he hasn't had a whole hell of a lot to do.
But he's done that thing that we loved about Caspar, was when he was called up in those moments, he's done his job. and he's done his job effectively. And that's all we need at this level is like, he's going to spend 85 minutes with the ball at his feet halfway in their own half, but it's in those 2 moments of the game. Can he make that save? Can he do that moment that keeps us, whether it's 1-0 or whatever, and keeps us in the game? That's going to be where he's judged ultimately. But I do think at some point this season he's going to take a throw in, because it looks like every time it feels like he's getting closer and closer to the point where he's just randomly going to take a throw in one day. Because he just do that thing like Casper as well, where he gets bored, I think, and he wants the ball at his feet, and he just comes further and further into the field. But no, it's great. I mean, I think, I don't know if he's called up for Denmark now. I'm not sure whether he's going to play over this international break, but I mean, you can't say much more. He's doing his job, and he's doing it really well.
Very excited about the young man, and he's I honestly think that when we look back on this season, obviously obligatory knock on wood here, because we are Leicester, guys. Don't get it twisted. Something's gonna go fucking wrong this year, and we're all just gonna be like, yep, that we were just waiting for that shoe to drop. But what he has been able to do this year has just been incredible. And I think when we look back at this season, some of the saves that he made in those first, second, third games of the year are going to just be monumental when we look back at just the success of the season and how the season ended up playing out the way it did, Jason. Especially like Coventry, dude. Like some of those saves against Coventry, amazing.
Yeah, he has made some very athletic and good saves this year. I haven't looked at it yet, but I guess I'd be interested. Maybe I can pull it up now. Like what his expected goals against are versus the saves that he's actually making, because he as Chris said, I mean, he kind of goes through the times where he's just looking to get involved. He's not going to get involved. And he's not getting to the chance to just make save after save, but when he has been called, we had Coventry, we gave up that goal on the corner, but other than that, I can't really fault him for anything that's gone into the net, and that says a lot right there. And then I think his comfort on the ball and his ability to be an outlet for our players and our defenders has made our defenders better. I mean, Yannick Vestergaard is back there passing the ball around like he's Pirlo, because he has that outlet in Hermansen, that he's got options to play the ball. And then now, teams are afraid to press us because we've been able to play through it so easily at this level that now he's got time and he can scan the pitch and ping passes around. And that starts with a goalkeeper that can play the ball well at his feet. And we have that in Hermansen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to your point, Jason, I just pulled it up. So the XG against us should be about 1, and we're averaging 0.5. So he's pretty much over 50% more effective, which, I mean, in itself, just to your point, echoes what you were saying. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and we saw the mistake at Blackburn, and those are going to be the kind of goals
there was that one too. Yeah.
But those are going to be the kind of goals that you give up in this system. I mean, we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago when we said, like, starting to look Man City-ish in the fact that when we give up a goal, it's either because we made a mistake or there was some world fucking class effort, a la Ramsey, against us. With Cardiff earlier in the year. So I think that the more this just continues to progress and the confidence level that these guys are cruising with right now is just, it's phenomenal. And I don't think that there's anyone that would have guessed that at this point in the season, we would be sitting where we are. I mean, the points are just stacking up. I'm not sure, Chris, if you could pull up the table real quick and check. I know we're 10 points clear of third now. Is that right?
10 of third now. So big gap. And then it's 12 to the playoffs, 18. I think yeah, ultimately we should just top two. It's 10 points. That's the gap that we.
Man, dude, crazy. More stats from this game that are just insane. 14 shots to their 2, 7 shots on target to their 1, 74% possession, which honestly doesn't feel right to me because it sure damn near felt like 95% possession. But 845 passes to their 287. So dominance on paper, dominance on film, and yeah, guys. And then when you throw that, you just top that off with the fact that both Nacho and Vardy scored when they were both on the field. It's just like, what? I don't, there's so many weapons here, Jason.
Yeah, and Enzo pressed the buttons at the right time, because right before he subbed in Vardy, Stoke were trying to get up the pitch a little bit higher and get their defenders in their back line a bit higher up the pitch. And we were starting to find a little joy. We were starting to find that ball through the back line or over the back line. And a few of us were talking, at the football factory while we were watching, and we said, this is a perfect time to bring on Vardy. And what does Enzo do? I mean, I'm not saying that what I'm suggesting is always the right thing to do, but
there's not a dugout phone from Legends to the KP.
We need the righty in the bullpen.
Exactly.
Get him warmed up. So he, he sees the game. I guess now that we're starting to watch him, and he's getting our fans kind of thinking differently about the game, and I don't know, just when things like that happen, you kind of feel like, all right, everyone's on the same page here. Like, we know exactly what we're going to do, or we're just going to do it. And he brings on Vardy, and I mean, it was a textbook goal there too. We just get right through them, and they were completely getting carved up there in the back, and it was a great sub, and it's nice to see Vardy at his age, making those runs in behind and getting there and getting the space, and it's just really just like, okay, this is the time. Let's put this game to bed already. And he made I think some excellent subs there, and we just put the game to bed.
We talked a little bit about what he's done with players like Wilf, and I think that we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about what he's done with our strikers, because we're not that far off from last season when there was a lot of shit talking from people on our GOAT and on Vardy, and has it passed him? Is he? I mean, I don't even want to talk about it, dude. Some of the shit that I saw written about him, and good God, man, to see what Enzo has done. And now we see what he's not only woke Vardy up, but now we're seeing Nacho really starting to hit the ground running. And I tell you what, that's a scary thought. And we said at the beginning of the year, if Nacho could fucking own this league, and man, if he's got both of them clicking right now, Chris, we'll get your opinion on what he's done with our two strikers, because it's scary. Like I wouldn't want to play us right now. You got the mute button on, buddy.
Mate, thank you. It's all about the philosophy and the positioning of our players. We actually have support around our centre forward this year. The gap last year, it was always top of the pitch, and then it seemed like an ocean until we had the next player that was close to that. And every time the ball went forward, there was just no support. Now Vardy, Iheanacho have got the ball at their feet, and they've got Fatal, they've got Eunice, they've got Cassidy, they've got Winks, they've got KDH, they've got everybody and anybody around them to lay the ball off, to make a turn, to make a pass. And that's just monumental and just gonna give them, like you said, the confidence to do stuff. And so I think, yes, they are too good for this league. We know that. But I think also just the way that we're playing, the setup and the way that we go about a game now is just conducive to what those forwards need. And I mean, we're not asking Vardy anymore to go chase down a 25-yard through ball off the last defender. I mean, still think he's got a good shot at beating the guy, but we're not asking for that. We're playing the ball into his feet. We're asking him to make space, to hold it up, to lay it off, to be a conductor of sorts. So I think he must be, he's obviously enjoying himself at this as well, because, I mean, we haven't talked about it yet, Matt, but we should probably come up with like the Jamie Vardy rate, like just celebration rating for this season. Because I know the one last week, a couple of weeks ago, was good, but I thought this one was even better. Like this one was just This one was just ruthless. Like point at the badge, point at himself, and then just pick out some unfortunate fella in the away end and just give him the eyes and the point. That's just, I mean, cutthroat Vardy at his very best.
I love not only that there are teams that he's getting to re-rustle, right? Like Stoke, been a while since they got to get rustled by Jamie Vardy, right? They've seen him doing it to other teams on TV, been like, oh, that's that fucker Jamie Vardy, best shit outer in the league, but he hasn't got to do it to them. The fact that he's now getting to re-rustle fuckers like that, but then at the same time, teams like Preston that have never got to enjoy, a Jamie Russell, it's perfect, Jason. It's absolutely perfect.
He's making the most of it. I mean, he's not letting an opportunity to Russell pass him by. And I have to say, just a pretty shameful and embarrassing performance by the Stoke fans. Getting rustled by our number 9 and also getting rustled by a 9-year-old.
9-year-old
fans.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Perfect encapsulation of what this team is doing to the opposition. Chris, on that note, I think it's a perfect time to get to our correspondent across the pond, Mr. Ollie McLean, and his opinion on the last 2 matches.
Whew. Hey Matt, hey US Foxes, hope all is well. I hope you all loved that game and Wednesday's game as much as I did. It's a little 2-for-1 for you. Preston 3-0 and Stoke City 2-0. 2 clean sheets back to back at home, going into the international break, and buzzing with it, to be honest. Back top, of course. Just over the moon really at the minute. It's getting quite boring to say that I'm just excited for every game, but no, it's another good performance today. Nothing to negatively say about that game today against Stoke. It was brilliant. Subs were brilliant. That second goal, indeed his first touch, I'm pretty sure, flicks it into Vardy, who has his first touch and scores a goal. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Chris, you owe me a written apology because that IPA was absolute shit, and I think you've seen the reaction video, but it was horrible. Never again. I just don't think it tickled my taste buds, to be fair. I've tried it and I won't be trying it again. Anyway, another good game into the international break now, and we'll be back away at Swansea, which is going to be incredible. I already know it now.
All right, slight technical problem there, Matt.
Oh, no worries.
Sorry
we got the gist of it at his most important point, which was that the IPA was not good, and
the fact when the conspiracy theory can stop, that wasn't due to the fact that he was about to slander an IPA in any way, shape, or form. I promise that it wasn't a technical glitch why he was going to slander an IPA. I'd never do that. I would never ever do that. I promise.
I'm with Ollie. I'm another member of the anti-IPA brigades. It's just not for me. It feels like I'm drinking a cup of potpourri.
Third here, and I know this will hurt Chris's heart, but not an IPA drinker, and being from San Diego, who make the best IPAs on planet Earth, that is sacrilege. But yeah, just not my thing, man. Not my thing.
More for me to drink, boys. More for me to drink, I suppose. That always works.
Sure.
I have no idea what happened then.
Okay, no worries. Shout out to Ollie. We got the gist of it. The young man is buzzing like the rest of us, and the energy at the KP, I think he kind of alluded to. It's just different now. I think the people crying to get it forward are now understanding, or for the most part understanding, hopefully, that this is not the football of old for Leicester City, and now we've got the results to show it. So there should be no pitching at all.
And I gotta say, Ollie nailed it, man. Like, doesn't it feel good to look forward to the football again?
Honestly,
You
it
can
really
hear it in
does.
his voice, can't you? It's
Yeah,
amazing. If you go back and listen to the podcast 6 months ago, the poor lads at bottom of the barrel. Like, it's great to see that this is I mean, I know the effect to us is always when we win, but it's just great to see it. Like, everybody's bouncing at the minute.
Yeah.
Which is
Look, he's outside. The sun is shining. The sky is blue. He's out there, loving life. Oh man, it's beautiful.
Yeah, love that man, and thank you to him for continuously providing us with these match updates. Looking forward to having a pint with him very, very soon. He alluded, guys, to some stuff coming up, and that match coming up, our next match, and we will dive into these. We'll look ahead to Swansea next week on the pod. So he was just jumping a little bit ahead there before he was cut off with our technical problems this week, Chris. Sabotage, yes. I did want to, just as I'm starting to get to the end of this pod, I did want to give a shout out to the ladies. Leicester City women right now, you guys, if you aren't paying attention, they are 3-0 and at the top of the league and absolutely smoking teams. Another amazing win against Liverpool. And man, it's just running through the club right now. We've got confidence, we've got skill. Jason, it's a good time to be in Leicester.
It is, man, and you can see that something sort of changed at the club with the women's last year when Willie Kirk took over and kind of changing things around. We made some shrewd signings too, bringing in Leipzig as a keeper, and she's been phenomenal. And then some other really shrewd signings. I think all around the women's football world, Leicester City, we got a lot of credit for the players that we brought in this year. And Peterman at the top of the formation, I think, has been a revelation, scoring big goals, great goals for us. Goalkeeper still doing the business. Didn't skip a beat in the back, losing Plumtree. I mean, this side is rolling and playing with confidence. And there's just such a togetherness in that squad that's like, it's really contagious, and you can see it there, and you just see how players kind of react to each other, and they don't seem like they're afraid to play anyone. They'll take on any opponent right now, which is really great to see. And when we used to always say, and maybe we've gotten away from this, and hopefully that we'll get back to this on the men's side. It's go through the season in stages, attain your goals, get to the 40 points, do these things, and then go on and push on from there. And on in the women's league, only the bottom team goes down, and the first order of business is to collect a few points early in the season, so that you can that you'll comfortably stay up. To get 6 points in the league already at this point of the season is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
For the survival chances, and then let's see this side pick up another win or two, and then push on from there and see what they can achieve. It's great. And if anyone hasn't been watching, I seriously suggest flip on those games on the stream. The league games are all on the FA Player app, and you'll see we've scored some really fantastic goals this year.
Yeah, guys, and if you're like me, I mean, you could put, I don't know, a bunch of dogs in Leicester City jerseys against a bunch of dogs in, like, I don't know, any other team jerseys, and I'm going to cheer for those dogs. Like in Leicester City, anything that happens, I'm supporting this club. So if you're not getting behind the women right now and what they're doing, you're a fool. That's Liverpool's first defeat of the year, and it was weird to begin with because they had to play Natasha Flynn, who's now with Liverpool. Leicester City women extraordinaire, Natasha Flint, and to get that win, Chris, that's just huge, and it just speaks to the momentum that this club has going right now.
Yeah, I mean the women's league as a whole is just continuing to go from strength to strength to strength. I mean, if you think about that, a couple of weeks ago, opening game of the season, Arsenal got over 55,000 at the Emirates watching the game. We're building the momentum from the Women's World Cup earlier late this summer as well. And yeah, one of the things that'll be interesting to see moving forward, Jason, you made a great point. Like one team is only going down, and the past 2 seasons, that's always been a flip of the coin between us and maybe Reading at times, and then whoever went down. This season, given the start, I wonder whether or not that mentality is going to be within the club, or whether or not we can start to use this as an opportunity to think about pushing a little bit higher in the league, becoming one of those. We're never going to get, unless we get who knows, we might. I was going to say we're never going to win it, but as a Leicester City fan, you cannot say that because you just never know. And so the chances are that we aren't going to be fighting with the Man Cities and the Arsenals and the Uniteds come the end of the season. However, it would be nice to see us in that 6 through 9 position where it's showing that there is a general upward trend in what we're doing, and we can build and we can start then investing more and more in this squad, and then start fighting for that next tier of teams like Villa and those sorts of sides. So super exciting start for us. And echo Jason's point. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to find on the FA player, but once you've got it, bookmark it, and then world's your oyster. And those listing in Leicester, go to the games. I think.
Yeah.
Try and keep getting as many people down at the KP as possible, because I think that the more we can get down there, the more we can continue to root as a collective club on the men's and women's fronts, and the more success that we're going to have.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to go out there and say that this side this season will beat one of the big teams. We will get a win off of one of them. I'm putting it out there. I'm going on the record, and I will say it. This team can do it. They will.
Well, they've got United on Sunday, so who knows?
And yeah, just so we're clear, guys, the Liverpool women's team are not on the same level as their men's team. That's why Jason is not.
I'm not considering that win. It was a very good and impressive win. Especially on the road over there. Midweek game, but I'm saying I've got my sights set on something bigger. There's going to be we will collect a bigger scalp.
Hell yeah! Keep it up, girls. We are behind you, guys. Wanted to turn now to specifically the U.S. Foxes side of things that are happening over here for Leicester City fans. And I don't know if you guys got it in the mail this week, but did want to take a quick second on the international membership cards that started rolling out from the club. Unfortunately this year, and maybe it's just the state of where we are as a club, no free gift this year. So don't be looking for socks. I think we got socks last year, the year before that. I'm not sure what the gift was the year before that. Maybe it was a wallet, but this year no gift. So if you're international member, they are in the mail. I just got mine 2 days ago, but no gift this year for our international members. And then any comment on that, Jason?
You just reminded me. I'm not sure if I got my membership yet.
Well, the number never changes, so when you put your name in it, they'll remember you. That's the good news.
I did get my Foxes Hub subscription though. Believe me.
Yeah, we got those. Other thing I wanted to shout out was the turnout on Saturday around the country, guys. One of the most consistent and best turnouts I think we've gotten the entire season as far as numbers wise. We had, I think, 11 in San Diego, looked like right around the same number in New York and Rochester, Philly with another great turnout. But wanted to give a special shout out to our boys down in Texas. I know we don't have Jim tonight, and he's in Houston, but this is specifically for the Dallas Foxes that not only had an amazing turnout this week and have been having great turnouts all week, but also have a brand new, very sexy logo that they debuted with the Texas Ranger star. It's a very good looking thing. So shout out to the Dallas Foxes, not only for, the cool new logo, but also putting in the work to get that group going. It ain't easy, but man, it looks to be between 8 and 10 guys that are getting together every week. And it's just, when I see that, I literally get goosebumps talking about it, guys, because this has been the dream for so many of us for so long, to have thriving communities of Leicester fans around the country. And yeah, to see the Dallas Foxes with that logo, Jason, I know I'm not the only one that was so stoked to see Paul and the guys getting it together down there.
Yeah, and it's great to see. We actually had some representation from Dallas too, at the Football Factory this weekend. So it's awesome, and it's one of the reasons why I always suggest everyone, if you're a supporter and another person, start a little group and it'll grow, and then now we've got a network of supporters clubs around the country. So when you do travel, you have an instant group of friends, right, that you can go meet up with and watch the games with. And that's, way better than having to sit in your hotel room or some Airbnb that you have to clean later, when you're out traveling. And so we're starting to see that. We've had, New York Foxes over in San Diego. We've got, obviously everybody in Philly. We've, gotten together and done all of that. And so it's great to see also that, and so this is my call to, so anyone who's listening that's sitting in a city somewhere where you don't have a group, this is the time, let's get it going.
Yep, absolutely. And once again, guys, Dallas Foxes, love the logo. Little sad you didn't take my suggestion on either Chuck Norris or JR from Dallas being involved, but I digress, because you guys killed it on that logo. So
and Paul's, one of the OGs, man. Paul
he really is. Yeah.
That kind of started this whole kind of US Foxes kind of network of people that are actually getting together, meeting up, going places, and not just being on Facebook, or social media. And, Paul was out there in Los Angeles with us where we all met and, had such a good time, after the title win. And then those, that weekend kind of turned into all of these other clubs now developing, throughout the country. So absolutely. Paul gets all the love in the world from me, man. He's such a good dude too.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Paul and Joyce. Love you guys. And for those of you that are longtime listeners on the pod, we've had Paul on this pod probably 4 times, I would say, Chris.
Even
in the early days.
He's an OG. He is an OG.
Paul was even a guest in the studio when I used to do the old Foxes Never podcast with Abbott.
With the man, yeah.
Queens. And Paul was even on that one.
He's a legend. So shout out to the Dallas Foxes, guys. And hopefully that's a little inspiration for anybody that's out there right now in, whatever town you're in. I honestly, guys, grab your cousin who likes baseball or football and just introduce them to it. Buy their beers. And look at that. You got 2 people. That's a group. And suddenly you're starting the next US Foxes group. So shout out to those of you that are making it happen. Anything else that we are missing, guys, that we want to cover before we take off and send the guys off for another week? Chris, we'll start with you. Anything?
No, I think, I'm looking forward. It's like a week on Saturday can't come quick enough, can it? For a number of reasons that we'll maybe go into a little bit more next week on the pod.
For sure. And I think this just reiterates how much we all hate the fucking international break. Figure it out. People in charge, figure it out. This is terrible. We got all the momentum in the world, and then there's just this big brick thrown into it, Jason. Figure it out.
I agree, man. I'm actually loving the football right now. I don't want any breaks. Obviously this summer really needed one. And but now I just wanted to keep rolling. And but the good thing is last break, when we had a lot of, we came out of the last break and just ripped
We did.
everything to shreds, except for the Liverpool game, which understandable. So let's just do it again. Let's come back and take it out on Swans.
Let's do it again, guys. Yeah, and like we said last week, just did want to shout out to our UK listeners. Our UK numbers, guys, are just they're crazy. They've more than doubled this season, and so big shout out to our UK listeners. If you guys are over there, thank you so much for taking the time. Americans just go on and on about this club we love so much. And on that note, I will be over for the Swans away and Sunderland at home. So please hit us up in the DMs if you would like to have a pint. We're going to be all around Leicester, local hero. We're going to be at Everard's. We're going to be literally everywhere. So if you would like to have a pint together, I would love nothing more than to hang out with you and have a pint. So please hit us up in the DMs and we can get together that way. And on that note, guys, that's going to be another edition of the US Foxes podcast as we continue to just shit house all over this league that we are in. And thank you, as always, for joining us and taking time out of your week to listen to us pontificate. We will be back next week with a little Swansea preview pod, so you can look forward to that. And as always, if you could please tell your friend, cousin, brother, grandpa, dad about this little pod that we have going on here, we would be ever so grateful, because that is how the word spreads. And yeah, thank you as always for joining us on the US Foxes podcast. For Chris, for Jason, for Jim, who could not join us tonight, recovering from his Euro vacation, I am Matt in San Diego, and we will see you next time on the US Foxes podcast. Cheers, guys.